Hello and welcome to Talking Africa, the podcast from the Africa Report magazine. I'm Nicholas Norbrook, and for the very latest from our print and digital editions, do go to our website, theafricareport.com. Coming up later in the show, the Rwandan President Paul Kagame speaks about sharing the love from the German car maker Volkswagen. But first, the relentless drumbeat of networking from the Africa CEO Forum, which took place last week in Kigali on the 25th and 26th of March.
And the winner is Africa's most profitable airline company, Ethiopian.
Together, we'll make Africa great and we'll place Africa in its right place in the global stage.
You heard there the CEO of Ethiopian Airlines, Tewolde Gebremariam, receiving the award for African Champion of the Year. And having been in the room, it's hard to relate quite how warm that reaction was for Ethiopian Airlines from all of the participants there. Now, the theme of the Africa CEO Forum turned around the common market for Africa. Turning ambitious plans to make a continental free trade area into a reality relies on the nuts and bolts of economic integration, the regional infrastructure that actually allows traders and other business people access into neighboring markets. Samaila Zubairu is the CEO of the Africa Finance Corporation, a large infrastructure financier on the continent.
So always, you need to have a road or rail that goes across 3, 4, 5 countries. That is the way to go to achieve the regional integration. You need to have that road have probably just one border. So for example, if somebody is departing from Abidjan, is planning to drive all the way to Lagos, then the border post should be in Lagos, and not in between. If you want to...
Not everyone gets off the train.
Exactly, yeah. If you now want to stop from Abidjan to Accra, then your border will be in Accra, so it depends on how you want to make the journey. So if, you want to stop in a country, then that is the border post, as opposed to having to stop at each border post.
Yeah.
So it is projects like that, that would facilitate integration. More importantly, the rules around the free movement of goods needs to be enforced.
Yeah.
So it's not okay for you to be able to produce in one country and then you can't take it to another country, but then somebody that imports into that country can get the goods to your own country. So there has to be reciprocity, there has to be respect for the rules, and there has to be, I would say, reasonable sanctions, that make sense, and allow people to follow the rules. If you don't have those, I don't know that we can achieve much success. So, for example, the Economic Community of West African States has been modeled as an integrated market, but for several reasons it has not quite come to life. There's ease of travel, with most of the countries, but for some countries there's no reciprocity for travel. Right. So we need to investigate those issues. We have a lot of producers in some countries that can get their goods to the other country. You need to understand why, and try to solve them so that as we talk about the continental free trade area for the entire Africa, we are coming to it with experience. We are coming to it with lessons learned. We're coming to it with the things that need to improve. We're coming to it with specific dialogues that must take place amongst African leaders and amongst the bureaucrats to iron out mechanics for the realization of this aspiration.
Have you found an effective lobbying technique to, I don't know if educate is the right word, but to raise the consciousness level of these very important things within the political class across West Africa?
So typically, it's a broad-based campaign.
Yeah.
Wherein you are targeting the key decision makers. You're targeting the publics that they respond to. You're targeting their influencers. So it's a broad-range campaign. It's not a one-shot thing, and it's also something that's done over time. One of the things that you have to do to achieve an objective like this, is you have to work with the unions. They're very powerful in things like this. You have to work with civil society. You have to work with the elected representatives. So all of these people must want these things, and then you must have people that benefit from this, speaking up to these things. So my view is that it is possible, but it's not going to happen in 1 year. It's something that can be achieved in 3 to 5 years, but with a consistent focus on making it happen. It's not something that you can drop the ball on.
Samaila Zubairu, the CEO of the Africa Finance Corporation. But building the hardware is just the first step, argues Joshua Oigara, the CEO of Kenya's biggest bank, KCB. The software, he says, is often much harder to get right.
Why? Because we haven't integrated from a policy point. It's one thing to do a road, but you can stop the truck on the border for 5 days, for 6 days. Nobody's going to be interested in this bullshit. Nobody. And that's where I think naturally we need to be catalysts as private sector to challenge government on the same table with actions to progress integration for the region. So first, and then we have a lot of blocks, a lot of communities, a lot of, what do you call them? There's a lot of trade economic blocks in Africa. Yeah. I estimate there are maybe 15, 16. It's COMESA, it's ECOWAS, it's East Africa, it is SADC. I mean, you don't even know. And some countries belong to 4. So that we need to realign. And that's why I love the Continental Free Trade Area for Africa. It works. Then it eliminates the relevance of all the other blocks that are available today. So that's the reason why you have not seen businesses expand and into the region. There have been very few investments.
Although I imagine if the countries, just internally had, strong domestic economies, they'd got a strong judicial framework, the state was functioning, then trade would find a way, The issue of regional economic communities would melt away.
No. Trade must be very intentional. Because remember that there are also national champions, the rise of national champions, which look at their own development as businesses to the detriment of the bigger state development and economic empowerment. So I'll give you an example. So you could try and build a business in Kenya and sell across the region. So you talked about the African Airbus, if I use as an example. We want coffee. You may have a Rwandese coffee exporter who is able to sell products on the platform. Okay, it could be Alibaba or something else. Yet there could be another one from Kenya that we need to connect. But because we want to protect the market for ourselves, we frustrate the Kenyan coffee from coming. Trade disappears. So we forget. So we have a very narrow nationalistic interest, and this is the risk of protectionism that is coming through.
That was Joshua Oigara of KCB. We caught up with the Rwandan President Paul Kagame the day after the conference. He said that it is possible to take concrete steps that get beyond the economic nationalism of the moment, from sharing out the value chains of the new Volkswagen automaker investment into Rwanda to the establishment of visa-free access for all Africans visiting the country.
In fact, we have discussed with Volkswagen leadership that we want to make this an East African thing. Let each one of our countries have something to supply to Volkswagen.
Okay, part of the supply chain.
Yes, yeah. Does one country supply tires, another one... whatever pieces of the car that one can... And in fact, for us, and what the Volkswagen also are talking about, because they are going to provide what they call the mobility solutions, and they are going towards even building driverless cars and so on, which will need high connectivity.
Right.
internet and stuff like that. So we said, and they preferred that because of the connectivity here, that could be our part we should concentrate on. And we said, fine.
Yeah.
We are happy to concentrate on this, bring in others to provide other parts to the car.
Yeah.
So which was to your point you were making earlier about the Airbus stuff. Second aspect, slightly different from that, but which complements that. As you are aware, we are the first country in Africa that started allowing Africans to travel to Rwanda, easing difficulty of visas. We said all Africans. Some of them don't need the visas. Others would just get a visa on arrival. And they said, without exception.
Right.
Then others also, and we started campaigning around that and showing colleagues across the continent that much as you think there are problems associated with this, we haven't found insurmountable problems going this route so far.
Yeah.
We are 1 year in, 2 years in that, and we are saying we haven't actually faced any serious problem.
But a lot of benefits.
Yes, just benefits. And we told them, you see, you are country people who come to Kigali or through Kigali to other places. Are actually saying, we wish our countries could do that. And they say, why don't you listen to your people?
Right.
See, again, somebody might be clinging on this visa thing to express sovereignty. I mean, you are stopping people to come to your country, you're making it expensive because there is something called sovereignty you're trying either to protect or to just feel good about.
And there will be much more from President Kagame in the next print edition of the Africa Report magazine, so stay tuned. That's all for this week. Do say hello on social media. I'm at Nick Norbrook. We are at the Africa Report and on Facebook too. And of course, our website, theafricareport.com. If you've enjoyed the podcast, tell your friends and do rate the show on iTunes or wherever you get your audio. Thanks for listening.